can we just kind of open up the exhaust? Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here with my good friend Todd, and today we're talking about his 347 Supercharged Foxbody Mustang. All right, now, Todd, I know it's early in the morning, and I really appreciate you coming out and doing this. Guys, we're actually in Tennessee right now for Ford Takeover, and Todd's been driving his car, so cut him some slack because he's got a couple bugs on the windshield. So, Todd, I already let the cat out of the bag. 347 stroker motor. But before we get a little bit too far, let's just kind of start from the beginning and find out, a little bit more about you. How long have you owned this car?
I've had it since 2007. I bought it the year I graduated high school, and it was nothing near it is now. Okay,
so the car was it stock, or was it maybe slightly modified, or?
It was pretty stock. It had a Vortech A trim on, stock motor.
Okay. So this obviously isn't stock anymore. You've done a lot of work to this. And actually, a little bit more about you. You're actually a Ford mechanic, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a wild guess here and assume that you did a little bit of the work on this car yourself, right?
I've done 90-some% of it, except for some exterior body work.
Okay, cool. Now, 347 stroker, is this still a factory block, or is this an aftermarket block?
Factory block.
Okay, factory block, 347 stroker. And man, when I look at this, this reminds me of like a really solid period correct build. You've got the highly desirable Vortech intake here. And you know what, Todd? What do I tell you every time that I hear you come rolling up? What's the favorite thing, my favorite thing about this car?
Is it whistles.
I've got the V3 Heritage on my car, and I'll tell you what, it's loud and obnoxious, like I always say, exactly how a supercharger should be.
Exactly.
But in my opinion, nothing sounds like the V1. You can hear a V1 coming a mile away, right?
Correct.
I absolutely love it. But yeah, same with this blow off. So you know what, let's kind of back up again here too and talk a little bit about this. This is a V1. This is a street trim supercharger?
Yes, it was an old school A trim.
Okay.
And years ago I sent it into Vortech, and we put an SI impeller in it and an SI volute on it.
Okay.
So it has half of it's upgraded to modern stuff.
Okay.
It still has the original gear case, the original gears that make all the good noises.
Those straight cut gears.
Yes.
Excellent. And now this blow off, I know I've seen this before. This is actually a Vortech blow off here.
That's a Mondo, big guy.
The Vortech Mondo, the big guy blow off here. And how many pounds of boost in the supercharger?
It makes 8 or 9.
8 to 9 pounds. Okay, so that's actually probably for street. That's probably really good.
And we'll go into more nostalgia with this. It has E7 castings on it. They are from the 90s. From the Anderson Ford Motorsports brothers. I believe the story is that they were done before there was aluminum heads.
Oh wow.
So they're ported out as big as they can go. They have a 194 intake valve and a 160 exhaust valve and an E7 casting.
Wow. And just that's just a standard Vortech, no porting or?
It actually has a Holley Systemax 2 lower underneath of it. I believe the top is untouched. Minus they shaved off all the injector bosses off the one end.
I saw that. I was going to ask about that too, because normally you had the ability on these to add more injectors, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Before there was modern injectors, they stuck another set of 42 pounders in the end to aid in fuel.
Add more fuel, right?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty clever. I guess that's the only way they knew how to do it back then. Old technology. All right, Todd, let's talk about the motor here again one more time, because we were just having a little conversation about horsepower. And like I said, like a lot of times when people make horsepower claims, it can go any direction. There's always people that say like sounds like a generous dyno, or like you just said, some people say, especially with your car, that it should make more power than that. So What is the official dyno number on this car?
It has made 470s for horsepower at the tires.
Okay.
And it's made 500 foot-pounds of torque at the tires.
Wow, so actually more torque than horsepower. But I'm gonna assume that's intentional, right?
I didn't design it to be that way.
Okay.
It just come out that way. But it does still have an E7 casting for a head, so it doesn't have a super amount of flow.
Not a lot of volume.
So the high velocity and small port size makes for a good torque.
Okay. And also, you don't want to push these factory blocks too hard.
No.
Right?
No.
I know 500 is kind of like the magic number. I hear people say that they've gone up to 600, which is fine. But you know, why kind of play with fire?
The normal thing is where you keep it under 6 grand and you have a good tune in it.
Yep.
They normally keep living.
Yep.
You start going over 6 and you get on the ragged edge of timing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then you start detonation and then it potentially can crack.
Right. And that was kind of my understanding as well, is that you know, a lot of the trouble is the over revving, and those internals just kind of let loose eventually, right?
The block isn't thick enough in the good spots to handle all of it.
And then you're in for a bad day. All right, so talked about the motor here. Let's kind of back up here, and man, I love the way your car sits here. I know you've recently done some suspension work, so let's talk a little bit about that. What's your suspension setup on the car?
It's all Maximum Motorsport, front and rear, coilovers front and rear, torque arm in the back, panhard bar in the back. I just switched to rear coilovers for Maximum Motorsport.
Okay, so you just did the rear coilovers, and we'll show a little some pictures of that in the video here. Man, the car sits really nice. Do you have any issues with tire rubbing?
Not that I know of. It's close. Fenders are rolled.
Fenders are rolled, okay.
Fenders are massaged with a nice hammer.
You know what? I'm actually having some, I just lowered my car and I'm starting to see some witness marks, you know, from a little rubbing. So I think that's going to be next on my list. You know, I think I had asked you when we were talking before about this color. Man, this is a really nice color, but this is not a factory color. This is a one-off, you were telling me?
It's a one-off color. It's very close to the factory emerald green.
Okay.
But when I went to have some paint work fixed up, I found out it is not anybody's color.
Wow.
No machine would match it, nothing.
Okay. So
they made spray outs and spray outs and spray outs to figure it out.
Finally
and
get
they
it right.
did.
Yeah.
So
very cool. I really love this color, and I like how you tied in the orange here on the brakes. It's a very nice contrast. So speaking of brakes, these are some big brakes here. What are these? Are Brembo, right?
They're Brembos. They're actually the Cadillac ATS Brembos that a bunch of guys are doing.
Wow.
And these are actually a little bit different than the norm. I think some guys are doing it now, but a guy back home did all my machine work, machined the calipers to set the offset right. It does not have an 0304 Cobra brake rotor.
Okay.
It has a 11 to 14 Mustang GT rotor.
Okay.
Which is actually 13 1/4 in diameter.
As I say, it's a little bit bigger, right?
And it's a little thicker.
Okay.
So what that helps is uses more of the pad contact, because otherwise you'd have to chamfer the pads because they were wider than the rotor. Okay.
Yeah, what's the standard Cobra size? Is
13 inch.
13 inch. Okay, so these are bigger. Wow.
Just a smidge. I mean, we're only talking 1/4 inch.
Sure.
But it fills everything up a little bit.
Yeah. God, these calipers are huge. And then same in the back, are these just the Cobra 0304? Yeah.
Yep.
Very nice. What size are these tires back here?
That is a 285/40 17.
285.
Those wheels are like the first time it's really been driven on this car.
Oh, really? So these are new?
These are new.
Okay.
I've had them, but I had a bigger tire on them, and I couldn't get it to work out.
Okay.
So,
you know what I just noticed here too? These pinch weld covers. I'm assuming these are Maker's Garage?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, you know, that just, it's very subtle, but That's really nice. Oh, okay, and you also got the front splitter here as well. Very cool. So what I don't see here is I don't see any tailpipes. So let's...
they are going to happen.
Okay.
It's just with Maximum Motorsports, Panhard bar, and torque arm.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on under there.
Okay.
And I have 3-inch all the way to the mufflers.
Okay.
And they currently have turn downs on them. But we will be fabbing up a custom set of tailpipes to get it out back.
Very cool. And really excited to show off here is your exhaust setup, because like we were just talking before, it's not just, you have cutouts here, but it's not just your standard on or off, you know, open or closed. You've got a really unique setup, so I'm really excited to talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I just had Todd pop the hatch because he's got some interesting stuff going on back here. Let's take a look, and Todd, why don't you tell us what's going on back here? Obviously, I see the battery, but what's all this going on?
So the battery's back here. That whole panel is everything that's been added to the car. MSD, AEM methanol injection, relays and fuses to make anything that I've added easily diagnosable if something goes wrong. Custom speaker box in the spare tire well. It's actually removable. There's actually room around it if you wanted to put detail stuff or put something in there. The amp is actually below it.
Okay.
In the spare tire well, and there's room for other stuff.
Okay. And you were just telling, like you did just mention the meth injection, which I completely overlooked. Or is it hidden up front?
The tank is up front inside the front fender.
Okay, so it is completely hidden, yes. So you obviously wouldn't even know if you were looking for it. My understanding just adds a little bit more intercooling in a sense, right? Like you're actually kind of...
Correct.
Okay.
It's like a chemically intercooled
there
setup.
We go. Okay.
Because it's no air to air. It's straight blower to intake manifold.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And it's like a big safety net for detonation.
Okay. All right, guys, what do you say we take a look inside the car here? So Todd, first thing, I love this steering wheel. This is a Ford Performance steering wheel?
Yes.
Okay, very cool. And these, what seats are these?
They're Corbeau LG ones. They're one of the only ones that don't actually say Corbeau on them.
Yeah, that's
because they're 100% leather.
They are.
They don't stitch their leather seats.
Wow.
With their name.
Okay. And again, guys, we are at a car show in Tennessee, so you know, don't mind the car seat back here. You actually drive this car, and that's what I love, is that, you know, I make a joke saying that my car's a garage queen, you know, because I don't have a lot of time to drive it, but I always see you posting and driving this car, and again, you brought your family here, so it's very cool to see people actually using these cars and including their families.
My 4-year-old daughter loves to go for rides.
That's so cool.
So.
What well, Hurst. Okay, I was just about to ask what shifter, but very subtle. I love, so the black interior, that's kind of like, you know, that's like the unicorn, right? Like having a really nice black black interior.
And
in
you
these cars.
couldn't get black in '89.
Right.
It was originally a gray and black interior, two-tone, like they always are. Like
mine.
This is actually a full interior out of a 90.
Okay.
Including the rear shoulder belts.
Oh, wow.
And it actually has rear functioning shoulder belts.
Okay.
So Neo Mustangs, I believe is who I got them from.
Okay.
He cuts the shoulder mounts out of wrecked cars, sells them. I installed them on my rear quarters, so I have fully functioning rear shoulder belt. So it's not just a panel with a slot in it with no belt coming out. Right. Plus, it's safer for my daughter.
There you go. 100%, and that's like probably the best reason why right there.
Exactly.
And you know what, guys, I want to give you a little sneak peek of something in here that it's not just showing you that his ashtray door works, but it does work, but there's actually a couple buttons in here, so there's more going on than just an ashtray, but we're going to get to that in a little bit here. I was just literally complimenting the factory gauge cluster right there, and you let a little secret out of the bag here. So what's going on here? You're not going to keep that original gauge cluster in the car?
It's going away.
Okay. I
have a full Holley EFI setup sitting at home waiting for it.
Okay.
Dominator ECU, digital dash, the 686 size, not the big one, just the smaller one.
Okay.
And it's going to eliminate the factory clustering.
Okay, and then I guess maybe we'll let another little cat out of the bag. You've actually got some bigger plans going on for under the hood as well?
I have a Dart 363 motor in the works.
Excellent. Probably be a few months with all the back orders and stuff going on these
Correct.
days. But
I don't have a block. I have a full top end set up for it, sitting there waiting.
Okay.
But the bottom end rotating assembly is going to be the waiting game.
Okay, okay. And then you've already got plans as well for this motor.
I actually own a 2000 Ranger. It was my very first car.
Cool.
It's two-wheel drive already. The motor's a little hurt in it. This motor, minus the blower for now, is going to go in that 2000 Ranger. It's going to be like a little sport truck. They get some drag wheels and tires put on it and have fun with it.
Very cool. I was going to say sleeper, but not with the V1.
Yeah, no, and we'll see. The blower may end up back on it.
Okay.
So we'll see how time goes with this car and how that works.
Very cool. All right, guys, we talked a little bit about Todd's exhaust cutout setup, and he's gonna fire her up right now and let us hear what it sounds like fully closed, and then progressively open it until it's fully open so you can hear the difference in sound. And I guarantee you're gonna love the way this car sounds as much as I do, if not more than I do. Always my favorite part of the video. What do you say we go for a ride? I love that, man. This car's got so much torque. I hope that the video can actually translate like how much this car pulls. Sounds amazing too. Now, was the exhaust open on that?
Exhaust is partially open.
Okay, exhaust is partially open now. Oh my God, I really, I can't, I don't have the words. I don't know, it's just, the car pulls so hard. And
it's very impressive for shifting in like 5,900.
Right, and again, like you said before, you do not shift over $6 grand, right? Just making sure you take
I almost short shift it most of the time.
Right, right.
Just to be nice to it.
Right. That's very, very impressive, man. This car, it just pulls very hard. Very cool. All right, can we, one more time, can we just kind of open up the exhaust and see what we hear now? Wow. Yeah, you hear like those little, there we go. You hear those little snap, crackle, and pops too. It's not that bad though. It's not obnoxious inside the car.
There's some other fun stuff going on down there too. It's got a two-step, a line lock.
I see that, very cool.
I can manually control my fans if need be.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of thought process in that latch switch. So it's a two-step engagement process between a couple of switches, so that when you're at the drag strip, so it's not just run off the clutch switch, so when you're at the line with everything, it takes two switches to turn it on, then you can let go of one of them, it'll stay on, and that it won't engage again every time you push the clutch.
Oh wow.
So that can be used with the line lock, with the two-step, or together or separate.
Okay, very cool.
It's just a bunch of relays, there's about 3 relays that'll control that.
You know, Todd, one thing we didn't talk about was transmission and clutch here. So what trans do you have in the car?
It's a T5, but it has an Astro A5 gear set in it.
Okay.
So it's got a 600 horse gear set in it, a G-force transmission case, which is normally what is the weak point on a T5. The case flexes, and then the gears clash, and then there goes your trans.
All right, guys, we're back from the ride, and Todd, again, thank you so much for doing this. I know that you know, having the family here and being out of state on vacation, you know, it's a lot of work, and it's also early. But thank you again for doing this. I've seen your car multiple times. Obviously, follow you on Instagram, and it really was a treat to actually go for a ride. So thank you very much for doing that.
Not a problem. Anytime.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up here. If you have any questions or comments about the video, please post them down below. Todd and I will do our best to answer them for you. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.